Coming up on Mountain News this morning, an Eastern Kentucky community mourns the loss of a well-known local radio personality. And a county in our region gets some extra funding to make some improvements to its infrastructure.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. It's Friday, finally. I'm Dakota Makris. It's just before 5 o'clock here, so the weekend is tomorrow, and, well, you know what else follows in the weekend, my birthday. I will only mention, Brandon, okay, Brandon, maybe I'll make you a deal here. I'll only mention my birthday once a block.
Once a block. Yeah, okay, that sounds like a pretty reasonable deal, but I'm sure you'll break your own deal there at some point this morning.
I didn't promise. I just thought I'd make you a deal.
You did not promise. You said you'd make me a deal.
You can break a deal.
You can. You can. You shouldn't, but you can. Yeah. So, yes, Sunday, the big day for a lot of folks there, including Mr. Dakota, as we celebrate a lot of things. Got Super Bowl going on. We've got, again, Dakota's birthday. Got a lot of things coming up here on Valentine's Day on Monday, but we got to focus on this morning because we have some new alerts to push to you here in the next little bit with the wind, especially. Temperatures similar to where they were yesterday, 20s, 30s, and 40s. Pine Mountain, actually, I think is the warmest spot in the region there at 45. Prestonsburg right behind them at 40, but Monticello's at 23 this morning, so keep that in mind. Winds, not too bad at the moment, but remember, we have forest fires left over from yesterday that are still burning because it's been very dry. And there's a red flag warning out now for most of the area until 6 o'clock tonight. And I'll explain what that means here in just a minute. But you see not a whole lot in the way of wind gust right now. Unfortunately, we could see wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour at times today or better. So we're going to have to keep a really close eye on those forest fires. But this morning, weather conditions, active weather conditions, quiet. Not too bad just yet, but temperatures will rise quickly as we see that sun come up a little bit later on. But changes are coming. We'll talk more about those here in just a little bit. Dakota?
All right, Ren, thank you. Well, a family and community are mourning the unexpected loss of Trevor Huff. He died earlier this week. Many of you may have heard him on WKCB in Knott County. He hosted several shows, including the Trev and Bubba Show. One of his closest friends and former WYMT sports director Brian Milam says the community will miss one of its biggest supporters.
You had to know Trevor because he could fit into any room. He could check just about every box. He could talk intelligently just about every topic you could bring up.
Huff's visitation will be held this Saturday at Heineman Funeral Services Chapel from noon to 2 p.m. Trevor would have turned 47 next week. Well, an East Tennessee community is remembering the life of a 7-year-old girl after she died of complications from COVID-19. Family and friends of Adeline Gravis are planning to have a kid-friendly celebration of her life today outside of her Knoxville home. Adeline developed a rare kind of inflammation that affects the brain and spinal cord. Family friend and former teacher of Adeline, Holly Pace, says Adeline's always shared her love for Jesus and enjoyed encouraging others.
I knew right away that she was a different kind of kiddo. She just was wise and responsible and a little mother hen. She had the light of Jesus in her, and she was not afraid to tell people about him, and she was so excited to tell me that she believed in Jesus, and she wanted her friends to.
Pace says Adeline just had her dream come true last week when her baby sister was born. Well, results are in for the 2022 Impact Kentucky survey, and it shows just how much state educators are being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. This was the first working conditions survey the Kentucky Department of Education administered since the pandemic began. While educators reported favoring staff leadership relationships at 76%, they reported least favorable on emotional well-being and belonging at 48%. 64% said they were concerned about their own emotional well-being. Well, yesterday, the Kentucky House approved an unemployment insurance reform bill. It would change how long benefits last based on the state's average unemployment rate. Under the bill, if an unemployment is less than 4.5%, benefits would last for up to 12 weeks. Right now, the limit is 26 weeks. It would also require recipients to do 5 verifiable work search activities per week. If a recipient undergoes job training, they would be eligible for 5 extra weeks of benefits. Kentucky senators talked about a bill regarding transgender athletes on Thursday. The bill that would ban transgender athletes in Kentucky is moving forward. Senate Bill 83 passed out a committee Thursday afternoon. The measure would restrict student athletes to only participate in sports based upon their biological sex. Transgender girls would have to play on the boys' teams and vice versa. The current rules allow transgender athletes to play on teams of choice if they have had sex reassignment surgery. The 4 water districts in Floyd County each received $100,000 in grant funding this week. The fiscal court allocated the $400 grand for water projects throughout the county, with officials saying it is the county's way of showing that moving Floyd County forward is everyone's job. Judge Executive Robbie Williams says he is proud to be able to help the districts upgrade the county's infrastructure.
And over the course of the last 3 years, that has been a priority for us, is to get those infrastructure dollars and infrastructure in place that we can move our county forward, because our future success depends on the availability of those resources that they need.
Williams says it is promising to watch the county move toward a better tomorrow with all the entities working together to make it happen. The state could get as much as $10 million in grant funding from the U.S. Department of Transportation for an electric vehicle charging network. The money is part of a $5 billion set aside for states during the next 5 years under the new federal National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Formula Program. Governor Andy Beshear says this will ensure the infrastructure is in place that will allow Kentuckians to drive the vehicles and enjoy them.
We want to be the leader in the EV market, and to do so, we've got to build out our ability once we produce the battery, once we get it put in a car, that people can charge it and have reliable networks all over the country. And getting this all over the country is only going to help us in our EV growth, in more jobs, and in more investment.
The governor says he believes that when the new electric vehicle battery plants are fully operational in Kentucky, it will be the nation's largest producer of EV batteries. First Lady Brittany Beshear is inviting people in the Commonwealth to shop and share this year. This is the most recent part of the 13-year partnership with the Kentucky Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Kroger. The goal of the partnership is to support Kentucky's 15 regional domestic violence shelters. The First Lady encouraged people to shop from a list of items, then drop those items off at the store's collection sites. Well, thank you so much for getting your Friday morning started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up, an out-of-this-world diamond is going up for auction and just in time for Valentine's Day if you're extremely wealthy.
That's not us. Today could be a bit breezy at times, which is not a good situation when you have those active forest fires going on that we talked about. I'll track out the next best chances for rain in about 3 minutes.